Welcome to Behind the Lash Chair. I'm your host, Alexis Weisenburger, founder and owner of AW Lashes. My goal is to help you as a lash artist grow with tips and tricks on lashing, becoming an entrepreneur, marketing, and so much more. This is an amazing place to find free resources and connect with lash artists all around the world. Let's get started. Welcome, everyone. We're so excited for this week's podcast. We are going to be talking about all things pregnancy and lashing and all of the fun things that come with it. I have such a special guest. I feel so honored. She wanted to be on our podcast. It is Savannah. Welcome, Savannah.
Hi, how are you?
Oh, good and pregnant. How are you?
Very good and pregnant. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I can't believe how well we timed this. We totally called each other and we're like, hey, let's get pregnant at the same time.
Thank God the guys were good. We worked it out. Man, follow the schedule.
Right? So I have so many questions, but I guess the first thing I want to go to is kind of the beginning, because you are so good at sharing your journey of how you became pregnant and all of that. But some of our followers might not know about your beginning stages. So I would love for you to share a little background of that before we just start talking about lashing, because I feel like it's such a good, real thing that happens, and maybe someone's struggling right now, and just can relate to you.
Oh, girl, here goes. Well, some may or may not know, I've known Alexis for a very long time. So she has obviously have seen the journey and witnessed the journey firsthand. So I married my high school sweetheart. I'm super blessed and very fortunate to have someone ride this ride with me. I am considered an older mom. I'm 37 years old. I met my husband when I was 17. We got married at 26 and 27. And I've always had a menstrual problem. I've always been more on the heavier side and was very athletic, always was someone that was out and about and overachiever, all this fun stuff. But I got into the lash business, and my career really kind of took off. And so we really kind of put pregnancy in the back burner. So I opened my first location. I'm in Southern California. So I opened my first location when I was 28. So this is back in 2013. And I remember my husband saying oh, we've been married, we've been together almost 10 years. And, when are we going to start a family? And I remember telling him give me 5 years, as probably any lash artist that's probably listening, oh, we'll put, if you decide to open a business, you definitely put your personal, goals probably to the side, or vice versa. You took your personal goals and you put your career on the back burner. So I chose to take the career route first. And so that might have bit me in the ass, unfortunately, but I always had infertility issues. And unfortunately, I didn't really start investigating that until I hit my early 30s. I was probably 31, 32, and had multiple shops, was considered obviously very successful in the industry. And it was time to, make that promise good to my husband and start talking about a family. So yeah, we went to go see an infertility doctor. And unfortunately, it was probably, the worst news at that time. I was extremely overweight. I wasn't getting a menstrual. Probably 6 to 8 months. I mean, it was just, they probably induced it to more of stress related, obviously, because of the businesses. And I was running multiple shops, 40 plus artists. I mean, it was crazy. And also doing things on the side, with other brands and stuff. So it was, my body probably took a beating. So I decided to figure out what to do. And we went to see infertility doctors, and weight was probably the biggest issue they thought was the biggest concern. So I had the weight loss surgery in 2019, changed my whole life. If you have followed my journey, you're seeing, I lost 130 pounds.
Amazing.
Right. I started to get my menstrual regularly. My hormones started to really regulate. And I thought, oh shit, like I'm going to hopefully do this naturally. And 2 years post-op, still no baby. So last summer, and if you go through infertility and you do weight loss surgery, I did the gastric bypass, which I did the major surgery. So they do not allow you, or would like you not to get pregnant at least 2 years post-op. And so of course, Alexis knows me more than probably most, but I'm an overachiever. They said 2 years. I waited 2 years and I was straight back in that doctor's office.
That day.
That day. Yeah, exactly. And so we started IVF last summer. So summer of 2021. And I did the full throttle from the egg retrieval to injections. And so from July of last year to now, we were very fortunate and lucky. We got our baby boy on the first shot going through. So that was great. We did, unfortunately, after the egg retrieval, we did genetic testings, and we only had one normal embryo, but he is our little warrior because he is who I am baking right now. So we went through all the shots and the craziness, and here we are. So yeah, 13.
Amazing.
It's been a journey, but I've done it while sitting still behind a chair and running businesses through a pandemic. I'm sure we're going to go over all these things right now, but it's interesting. But it is my miracle, and I'm super excited. So I'm just trying to enjoy it all.
And this is why I wanted to interview you, because I feel like you have such an amazing journey with your pregnancy, and there has been something that happened to me that I wasn't as vocal as you. And then as I started becoming more vocal, I realized, a lot of people have this happen, but it was during the pandemic. And like you said, we are working so much as lash artists, business owners, and everything. And just like you, we put off getting pregnant until we got the things up and going, right? And just like your husband, it's like, hey, when are we going to have a baby? So we started trying, and, we had a miscarriage, and that was pretty hard because, you try so hard, but you're trying to manage a business and, also take clients. And then, just pregnancy in general is just so hard, especially that first trimester.
Yes, ma'am.
So when we got the news that, we lost our little angel, we were pretty devastated, and I didn't know when I wanted to try again. And also during that, I don't know if you experienced this, but I wasn't as focused on work as I used to be because I was so kind of wrapped up in this journey. But then, things started lacking at, my lash business that I, was trying to do all these things, but it was so disappointing, and, the grieving process. And then we started trying again, and now we're pregnant again. But, you did IVF and I had a miscarriage. So look at us, we're just a few bumps on a log, huh?
Oh, no journey's the same, that's for sure. But honestly, obviously proud of you, as I am myself, for talking about it. I think a lot of people don't. I'm sure, like yourself, I've received so many DMs and calls and text messages and just honestly amazing messages of women like, I hate to say people shame it, or it was just such a taboo. People don't talk about it. And I'm really not ashamed of my journey. I think it's my journey, and I'm going to take it for what it is. And so again, the same thing for you. You should be proud of that. I think and like you said, going through IVF and even I'm sure with you with miscarriaging, like people don't understand how hard it is to become pregnant, stay pregnant, and give birth. Like I'm I know I see some of your stories and stuff the same, like especially with me with IVF. I mean, I've injected myself. If I ever had a needle phobia, that shit's gone now. But I can't believe what it is. And you would think, hey, I got pregnant, yay, right? Like,
Yeah.
if that's the first step, like, heck yeah, I'm going to have this kid called a day. And I think I'm just as scared right now at 7 months as I was the first day of transferring the embryo. Like, I can't believe it's every day. Like, is it kicking? Is he moving? Is okay? And then we still have to be, lash artists or business bosses and go into work and act like everything's cool, but still knowing that, like, man, my body is responsible for something else right now. And so it's definitely been a mind fuck, but we've done it as well as you, and still doing it. So
right.
Very proud of ourselves. As anybody, hopefully that's listening, is the same. Like, one, you're not alone. And I'm sure you get them too. I just really couldn't believe when I was very secretive about the journey until I got pregnant.
Yeah.
And the main reason why is because a lot of people do have different beliefs in it. Especially if they're more religious. A lot of people do not believe, that that's a natural route to go, if you will. And so I didn't want people's opinions. I didn't want to hear what people had to say, or try this, do this. And I'm sure the same with you now being pregnant. People opinions come out, right? Like,
oh yeah,
people, well, I did this is how I got a girl, this is how I did this is how I got pregnant. I'm like, yeah, you think I haven't tried that? Like, I've done that position, those foods, those everything,
right?
Like,
yeah. And especially like when we had the miscarriage, people would be like, oh, well, they just weren't meant to be here, or like, just like the comments you get that you're like, not ready to hear that, or just like, you're probably not ready to hear, like, have some lemons and it will be a girl, or the weird stories I hear about that too. You're like, oh, I mean, you're so grateful, you're like, oh, you're nice, but like, I'm not ready to hear those comments.
Yeah, exactly good times
right? So we convince our husbands that to put babies on hold, and we both get pregnant finally, right? So how was your first trimester, Savannah? Because I mean, I'm just giggling because managing business during this trimester. How was that?
Yeah, it was smooth. Yeah, absolutely. Those that may not know what IVF is, I was obviously I'm injecting hormones, and I was not only injecting, I was taking them orally, injecting twice a day, and vaginally.
Oh,
so I had, if you're a woman, you can only imagine. I had stuff coming out everywhere, anywhere, and felt just like shit. I mean, for something that you feel like you pray so hard for, and you're like, okay, this is worth it, and you're still working behind a chair. I bless my clients. And when this podcast comes out, I'm going to make sure they listen to it, because they'll probably laugh at that current moment. I can't tell you how many times I had to get up from a client to throw up, or not feeling good, or had to walk, or just I got hot, hot flashes. It was just honestly, I saw you posted something as well, and it was like reality versus Instagram. And I was getting IV infusions weekly on top of, all the other injections, and I'm going through IVF. Obviously I'm being monitored weekly. So and I learned this, obviously being a first time mom, I didn't realize, like, oh, you get pregnant, they do the ultrasound. I'm thinking they do it in the tummy. No, that's not how it works. I didn't know that thing was going up there every week, so it was definitely, now I look back at it and I can laugh. It wasn't funny at the time. But it was, I believe it or not, I worked through the whole thing. I would hate to say I have an amazing team. I mean, my girls are great, and they were like, you're crazy. A lot of them would jump in, or, my front staff would help and move things around when they needed to, but I definitely stuck through. I now thinking about it, probably was a little crazy for that, but for me personally, the first trimester was the hardest, for sure.
Yeah. And maybe this is not good for me and you to talk about, because we're about the same on that. I worked the whole first trimester and was so sick too. I remember not telling anyone I was pregnant, and one of the girls at the salon came and asked me a question, and I was in my car throwing up in a shoebox because I didn't want to do it in the salon, because like, I don't throw up quietly. I'll tell you that.
Ditto.
They'd be like, what's going on with Alexis? So I had like this shoebox. This is so gross. But I go in my car and throw up in between clients. And I just, would go back in and suck on some mints. And do you remember food? It was just like, what? It was so hard to just be like, what even sounds good?
Yeah. I remember one of my girls was on like one of these like nutritional like food diets, and so she put her food in the microwave. Mind you, our senses are like hound dogs right now. Like I can smell things a mile away right now. And so I was lashing a client, and no joke, the client in my chair was pregnant as well. She's about 4 weeks ahead of me. So anyways, we always kind of talk, and I'm lashing her, and I get a woof of like this. I don't even know what the hell it was. Maybe Parmesan cheese. It was something that was just like, no, absolutely fucking not. I literally smelt it, and I told her, oh my God, do you smell that? And she was like, yeah. And I'm like, uh-oh. And I literally turned, thank God I have a big trash can next to me. And I bless her heart. I literally, and the same, I'm not a quiet thrower upper. I am definitely, everyone's going to know. Yeah. And I felt so bad. I'm throwing up. And I have a sink in my room. So I'm like getting a rag and kind of like, okay, trying to clean myself up. And I'm more concerned for her, because once one person throws up, and if you're pregnant, shit, that might activate her to brace. So right. I'm yelling front desk, like, who's cooking something? Like,
open the windows.
Oh yeah, exactly. And they come running down. What? Like, I'm like, you guys need to open the doors or something. Like, oh my gosh, like it's that whatever. And they're like, oh, it was like, I think it was like a crusted pizza or something, but the Parmesan was just not okay. But yeah. I was laughing because thank God my client who was laying down, she was like, oh no, girl, I'm good. I'm like, are you sure? Like, shit. And so right. It was definitely some times to think about, but my clients everyone knew once I did transfer, and we got the confirmation of pregnancy. When you do IVF, the embryo is created via a petri dish, and it's very scientific. It's not the natural way if you would really think about it, but I went in, and there was these stirrups, and these doctors come in, and they, it's nothing. It's not the natural way, I guess, if you will. So, yeah, it's crazy to see. I mean, we got to see a picture of him as an embryo, like as a single cell. So it's just crazy. And I have to post those pictures eventually. But, so when I was transferred, I mean, they put it in, you wait 10 minutes, and I'm like, okay, you're good. Like, just take it easy for 2 weeks. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, okay, is it going to fall out? Easy. Like, how does this, and so, my closest people knew obviously that was happening, and my team at work. And so everyone was super kind and just wanted to make sure that everything was good. So, those 2 weeks, everyone's like, don't do this, don't push this, don't, so, okay. So, 2 weeks later, yeah, you do a blood test. So I find out, I mean, he was put in 2 weeks later, I got confirmation. So it's funny, actually, when I announced it, I was way early. I was only 6 weeks, but the crazy part about it is because I was 6 weeks, but it was really only 2 weeks because it's already matured enough and all this. And so I remember when you announced it, I was like, oh shit, we're like due around the same time, but you didn't announce it more towards 12 weeks. And most people do that. That's a natural thing to do. Yeah. But because of IVF, everything kind of gets accelerated pretty quickly. And so I had to, be honest with people, especially those that were close around me, because I mean, I'm injecting myself. I'm taking all these medications. I wasn't feeling well. I mean, people are obviously like, what's going on?
Why are you
her?
crying?
Like, yeah, exactly. And if you know me, I'm definitely not a bucket crier. And like, it really does hit your emotions in a different way. So I really couldn't. I mean, hats off to you. I wish I could have faked it. There would have been no way.
Yeah. And honestly, I don't even know what the right thing is, because now that I've like told people about my miscarriage and like the community and the support, and then, how many people have had miscarriages that don't tell you until you tell them you've had your miscarriage. Like, now I've kind of reflected back, and I should have just told people, because when you feel like death, and this is just my personal, I know some people want to wait the 12 weeks. But
Mm-hmm.
when you feel like death and you're sitting there throwing up in between, going to your car, just surviving, like, I feel like what you did, just being open and honest, probably would have been a better route, because once again, I'm sure they're like, what is going on with this chick? Like, she's running late. She's not her, like, I remember having clients being like, is everything okay? Like, you're just not acting yourself. You're super quiet today. And I'm like, sister, you just should be happy I'm sitting in this chair doing your damn lash.
And I just think, like you said, the support, I really feel, when you feel like crap, it just, I thank God for them. I mean, honestly, for me, it was definitely, they helped me. They got me through it, like, stay positive. It was like, it was the same thing. I think when you go through it and they see you mopey, like, well, what the hell's wrong with you? And you're like, but again, everyone's journey and how they feel is completely different. I guess I didn't want to be, and again, power to everyone, however they decide to handle it. But like, it's hard to be a secret sufferer,
Yeah.
And so I think when you get in your feelings and your hormones are all out of whack. I mean, I don't care whether it's you miscarried early or late, like it is, those hormones are still triggered. And so, it's hard. And a lot of people, I don't know if you did, but the more I read about pregnancy and find out everything, like, postpartum can start after a miscarriage. It doesn't have to be at 9 months. And so, there's people that suffer harder than others. And so I can't imagine.
Yeah. I remember my hair fell out, which was weird, because I was like, man, I wasn't even like full term. My hair's falling out. So like this pregnancy, I've already like talked to my hairdresser, and I'm like, okay, like, I know it's going to fall out. Okay. I understand that, but like, what can we do to help slow down the process?
Right.
Oh, wow. We just get so pretty. Like, as this journey goes, I've done so many things that I'm just like, holy smokes. Like, I feel very, like, just so unnaturally big and in this body.
The same. I joked because obviously I had the weight loss surgery. I was over 300 pounds. And so I joked, my clients would joke, like, how are you going to lash us? Like, you're going to have a belly. Like, when do you think you're going to leave? And I said, girl, I used to be over 300 pounds. I've worked with the belly. I'll be all right. Like, but, I will be honest with you. This belly is different than being overweight. That's for sure. So it's the aches and the pains. It's different. So
yeah. So I guess I would agree. Like, the first trimester is just survival. Like, I mean, for me personally, I think your advice is just being open and honest with them. Like, I wish I would have done that, because suffering in silence is not, like I said, it wasn't fun. But now that, like, I guess our second trimester, now that we've, passed the sickness for some people, and then now we're getting a body.
Right.
this, and we're getting weight like crazy. I mean, at least I have, and I'm not ashamed, like, it's just what it is. Like, I'm growing a human.
Right. I have a question. I don't know for you, but I find it funny for me. So I'm hitting the third trimester now. The second trimester was definitely 100% better. Like, I physically feel good. Unfortunately, my labs are saying otherwise. Like, it's been a shit show, unfortunately, and I've been monitored weekly. I'm now high risk, all this fun stuff. But I will tell you, the most, like, just supporting thing is my husband. I was telling him, I go, he must have a thing for pregnant women, because he thinks it's the most beautiful thing in the world. And like you said, I'm starting to feel like a behemoth here. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this doesn't fit. Like, and especially it's such a mind fuck for someone like me who, I've lost 130 pounds. So to gain weight, it really is, if anyone is listening that's had weight loss surgery, it is, you try everything to not gain weight, right? Like, we go through this journey, we do this big surgery, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, it's okay. And everyone's telling me, oh, you look so good, you're getting weight. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, that was not, I did so much to lose the weight. And now, so, but I've been fortunate. I'm still working out, and not intense. Obviously I was running marathons before this, but Shit. But I'm only up like 15 pounds, nothing too crazy. I'm staying within a healthy range, but it's definitely, like you said, it's coming on differently. It's a lot to take if you're not, you've always been, in shape. And so I'm sure for you, it's like, what the heck? It is different, even though being overweight to this, it is different. But my husband has just been totally about it. I mean, the other day he took a video of me and posted. I'm like, oh my gosh. And it was just like, look at my beautiful wife. Like, he's just so in awe about it. So I don't know if I'm sure Ty's the same, but like, it's bringing everything full circle. I'm getting really excited about it,
Yeah. And I think that is so encouraging when they are positive about your body.
Mm-hmm.
I have never had boobs. Me and Savannah, we're just real. My husband is so thrilled about these boobs I'm getting.
Right.
And he's
are these going to stay, babe? Are these things? Are they?
He's asked me that almost like once a month is like a reminder. Like, do they stay? Like when the milk comes in, do they get even bigger? Like,
right.
And I'm like looking at these nipples and they go darker.
Oh yeah, exactly.
To hear that. But now I got these like brown circles on them and I'm like, you want these to stay? Like these nipples are huge. Like, and he's just so obsessed with this body.
Yep. That's my husband. It really is, which I think when they want a baby or crave a family, I mean, I think they're embracing it just as much. So I know that's been comforting to me. I mean, I don't feel, I have obviously we see a lot of women daily, and you hear a lot of other women's stories that like the husband doesn't want to touch them or sleep with them, or like doesn't see it the way my husband does. I'm like, oh, that's weird. And I feel I'm lucky, I guess, that my husband feels some type of way, because I don't know how I would feel if he felt that way. Like, well, we took so long to get here in this journey, and now you don't think I'm, like, I hate to say attractive, but I mean, we're women. It is what it is. Like, we still care what we look like for, like, I'm not trying to be a beauty queen or anything, but definitely like, I feel like poop. I need someone to tell me I don't look like poop, like.
Right? Things aren't fitting. Like I bought these jeans and they don't fit anymore. I need someone to be like, oh, you're so skinny. Like,
yeah,
look, you're all belly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So things we need to hear.
Right. I've gained 20 and I'm sure I'll probably be about 30, 35 at the end of this. Like,
right.
And I'm fine with it. And it's hard though, because I remember at first, so I'm with you, Savannah, on the way of like, I've always been super into fitness. So like watching my body change was hard because I like have a scale number. I'm that crazy person. And then as it went up, and then finally I just got to let it go. And then we'll lose it after or whatever. But I think that's so hard during that second trimester, just to see the changes of your body. So the hormones are a little better, but, and I guess with you, Savannah, I mean, I want to hear what's going on. I passed a kidney stone. So it sounds like you're having, I passed a kidney stone and I was in the hospital just a few weekends ago. And having everyone laugh at me saying, I guess we'll find out what one's worse, kidney stone or labor.
Exactly.
Them off.
There's a lot of, and I really need to do a thing about this, but there's a lot of complications when it comes to weight loss surgery and pregnancy. I did, again, the gastric bypass was the major weight loss surgery. So with that, my stomach is now, intestines are rerouted. So as I used to, the pros and cons about that is that I, before getting pregnant, would only absorb 50% of whatever I ate. So a lot of people think like, hey, shit, that's great, right? Because you eat bad, you get 50%. Yeah, but you eat good, you also only get 50%. And so when a baby comes, that little person likes to take that 50%. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So I struggled real bad that first trimester, learning what supplements were going to need to be added and taken away. And so that was rough because, again, the hormones themselves and like I said, I was doing it orally, injection, and vaginally. So everything was just going all out of whack. And then here, my supplements and my vitamins and stuff. So when we got to second trimester, it was a little easier. I did start to feel a lot better. Injections stopped. So then we jumped to a whole nother, trimester. I'm like, okay, this is great. This is where I'm supposed to feel good. This is where everyone says, shit goes good. And vitamin A was really low, iron. My bile acids went really high, and high blood pressure. So a little bit about that. So bile acids is actually something that if it gets too high, it's the number one leading cause of stillborn. So if you can imagine, I'm going through this whole journey, and the next thing you tell me is like, hey, people don't get ketosis until they get to the third trimester. And so mine hit at 12 weeks, which was really high. They triggered a lot of it to the weight loss surgery, which is again, something no one talks about. But my liver, my liver wasn't working efficiently for both of us. So unfortunately with the liver, it's going to take care of me, not him. So that was obviously such a mindfuck, because I was feeling the best I've been feeling, yet you're telling me, my child is going to have some issues here. And so I was monitored. I've been on medication since. I mean, they did this probably the same thing with you with the kidney stones. Like they had ultrasound my liver, my gallbladder, my kidneys, like just to see if there was anything that was connecting. And in a weird way, we were hoping it did, because it would solve, just like if you pass a kidney stone, well, shit, okay, that's what was hurting, right?
Yeah.
Like that was the cause. For me, it's not. It actually, my blood just becomes very acidic. So, there was no rhyme or reason for what was happening. It's kind of like gestational diabetes. Like they can't really explain why it happens. Our bodies just do some crazy stuff during it. And unfortunately
and
for
you
me,
still feel good. That's crazy.
And that's where, I'm telling you, that's where I was kind of arguing with the doctor. Like, what's so funny about this is that you are physically telling me that like my body's taking a damn beating, but yet I feel great. And so the blood pressure started rising. So obviously preeclampsia is in there, and all these my vitamins. So I do weekly iron infusions. It's this kid is trying to be an only child.
Yeah. I feel you.
Yeah, he's fighting that. So so with IVF, they do deliver early. So no matter what, I will be, between you and I and the rest of the people that are listening, I don't think I'll go 37 weeks, but they will, no matter what, induce me at 37 weeks. And that's just protocol for IVF. Like things happen with the placenta. And I do think that's because of, the way he was obviously created, it's more science. And so I think when they do the genetic testings, and so when genetic testing, they literally take a sample from the cell or the embryo where the placenta would grow. And so I think when it comes to the end of the line, like there's some issues with the placenta at that point. So they automatically induce at 37 weeks. So I am due August 17th, but it looks like he'll be here the last week of July, the latest. I personally think, and we'll have some bets coming up, but I'm hoping I get through June, but every week I'm monitored weekly. I was sent to fetal maternal medicine, and I'm under close watch right now. So, but but I'm at
so would that be a
weeks.
C-section, or would that be
automatically? Yeah, I would be. They won't put any more stress on baby or I. So
okay,
we're just like it's just living my best life. I really, and so many people and clients, and were like, I can't believe you're not more stressed. And I said, what is that going to do for me or the baby? It is what it is. I've gone through this ride this long, and I'm honestly, from the deep down bottom of my heart, like just blessed I made it this far. Like it's, if for whatever reason, they held me actually last week, which is we were probably in the hospital at the same time.
We should have just FaceTimed.
Yeah, exactly. They held me because my blood pressure was really high. And she had kind of said, like, if it stays like this for another 2 hours, we will take him out. And I told her, like, I do whatever is best for baby and I. Like, if that's, I have a game plan when I give birth? I mean, everyone would like to, right? But I'm going in with just the open mind, like what will be. At this point, and we're, super lucky that modern medicine is what it is. Like survival rates at 28 weeks are high. And so if that means that, he needs to be taken out early, then, God willing, here we go. You know, it's
Exactly.
I'm okay with it. I feel, and maybe that's why I'm a little at ease. He's passing personally all tests with flying colors. I mean, he's seen a cardiologist already. Like they are doing so much. And again, because I'm an older mommy, I'm 37, so I'll deliver at 37. So he's had all the intensive just testing done, and he's passing with flying colors. Like he is
taking that
bouncing
50%, girl. Don't be fooled. He's taking it.
Yeah, I had posted something the other day, like he wakes me up from 5 to 5:30. It is like kick ass hour. He don't do a shit. He is just, and I'll toss and turn and kind of rub, like, all right, dude, calm down, let me sleep here. And he's living his best life. So as long as he's okay, I'm willing to take it for a couple more months. So we'll be all right.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, when I pass these kidney stones, they don't give you painkillers because it puts the baby's heart rate lower, you know? Mm-hmm. So like most people that pass a kidney stone, they can go up with a laser and kind of like crush it and make it smaller and easier to pass and like all these things. And they're like, well, you're pregnant, so we're just going to let it pass naturally, but we want to monitor baby. So, you know, that was, you know, kind of just what you're going through, just like crazy. But now that I've passed a kidney stone beforehand, I was like, oh, I just want it to be all natural and all this. And that pain was so painful. And I don't know what it's like to deliver a baby or to compare them, but I am like, please do whatever. I will take the pain pills or pain, you know, whatever. Just, I don't want to feel a thing giving labor. So everyone's like, whoa, compare a kidney stone to labor. I'm like, nope, I think I'll just have a kidney stone and, you know, take the drugs for the birth.
So when I first went to go see my OB after getting out from the infertility clinics, and the doctor had asked me like, okay, what's like, do you have a birthing plan? Anything we should know? And I told the girl jokingly, which again, my sense of humor is very dry. So I was like, you know, this baby was, you know, created via drugs. It could exit my body via drugs. Okay. Like I don't want to feel nothing. I mean, if I can, obviously that's the route I would take, but I have no shame in my game. Bless those that do it naturally. High five to you. I will take the opposite route if I can, but I don't know if you are, but I'm taking Lamaze classes. And the main reason why is because, you know, the more you read about it as well, it doesn't always work that way. Sometimes, you know, your body may not like it or something happens where you can't get it. So I'm trying to do a lot of mental, you know, meditation and trying to, but I'm with him in my game. I would like it to not to have a comparison to anything else. So.
Well, so after I passed the stones, the doctor recommended, since my kidney, like the tubes were all inflamed and I wasn't using the restroom properly because she likes to nest right there because I carry low. Mm-hmm. And so they recommended, so this is fun. It's pelvic floor PT. So I have to work on my pelvic floor. And do you know anything about like pelvic floor PT, Savannah?
I know. I mean, that was a huge thing. But no, you're going to have to educate me.
So I didn't know, but I went in, I figured like we'd be doing, you know, maybe like some cat cows, maybe some like, you know, butt stuff to like strengthen it. But I went in and she told me to drop my pants and I said, okay, like, I mean, whatever happens right now, I've done a lot so far. And she goes in there with her hand and she strengthens my pelvic floor by expanding it with her. She finds knots with her fingers and pushes and expands. She had to breathe. And I was like, what? Like I called Ty after and I told him, and he, you know, this is every man's comment. He's like, we don't need to pay for that. I could be doing that at home.
Oh my God, I love it. No, so I didn't realize
Wednesday.
You're still doing it.
Yeah, I still go. Got 5 more sessions.
I literally was laughing at everybody. Like clients that I have are like friends, like, oh, it's so beautiful. Being pregnant, you're gonna love it. And you always hear that, right? And I was telling a really good client of mine, I'm like, you guys are all damn liars, every single one of you. I'm not listening to anything you guys ever say again. And they're like, well, it is beautiful. I said, no. I literally, and again, TMI, I'm on so many medications, IV infusion or iron infusions and, medications for, now my liver and the bile acid, all this fun stuff, your prenatals. And, I'm constipated as hell. And so I was telling them, I was like, I haven't pooped in a couple of days. Like, this is really concerning, and so, and they're like, oh yeah, I remember that. I'm like, wait a minute. When you told me this was beautiful and you're going to what the hell? Like no one like, oh yeah, no one really talks about that. Or I don't even know. And hopefully I'm not the one breaking it to you, but they were saying that, oh, wait until the first, poop after birth. It's brutal. And I'm like, what? Like, what did people talk? How come no one tells you that? Like, how come I went through this whole trauma and you're telling me I still have aftermath? I'm like, yeah. Well, okay, beautiful. Yeah, it's gonna be
the same with your nipples, right? Like
yes, they're not. They get dark. Yeah.
I was like, what's up with these? Oh, those don't change back. I'm like, oh, now you tell me, huh?
It really is. I find it hilarious. People just, they and like a lot of them say they forget. It's once you see your baby's, face and he's in your arms, you're gonna forget. They say it's the weirdest thing ever. You're gonna forget and you're gonna be just so happy. And so I'm excited for that moment.
We'll just listen to this podcast. Let's just re-listen to this before we do a number 2. Okay.
Now the question everyone has asked me, and I'm curious the same with you, everything you've gone through, are you like, hell no, there's no number 2, or you haven't ruled it out yet?
I haven't ruled out number 2, but I sure as hell ruled out number 3. How about that?
There you go.
I can maybe do this one more time. But number 3, if my hubby's feeling that way, it's coming in a different way other than my body.
Right. No, for sure. No, the same. I speaking about all this and laughing about it, I can definitely tell you that I haven't ruled out number 2, but it's definitely, like I said, I know, because I will tell you, I will not do this after 40. I think a lot of my complications is they do chalk it up. I mean, you should see this board when they talk to me. I'm IVF baby. I in their eyes still obese or overweight. I am over 35. I have liver issues. I had the weight loss surgery. I mean, it's just I check every mark. So I tell them like, hell, can you imagine doing this after 40? Like it's no. So I will give it one more shot before 40. But my husband's an only child. He would love not to have an only child, but
It is what it is.
Yeah.
There's other ways though, right?
Again, thank you to modern medicine. That's definitely an option.
Exactly.
And that's why we worked our butts so hard so that we have those options. Because even for myself, I mean, a lot of people have asked, and I'm not ashamed of it. It is what it is. It's my journey. But I mean, just for us to get pregnant and get this journey, I mean, IVF is expensive. It was $50,000 without even, turning or blinking an eye. Like that was for just medication to go through everything. And so, a lot of people are in my position that, unfortunately can't afford to do it. And so again, I'm blessed. That's why I'm trying to take everything with a grain of salt. But, I mean, he's also not cheap. So here we go.
No, I will say I didn't have to spend that kind of money, but like waiting later to like get things up and going has been a lot less stressful, because I feel like I see my younger friends and some of them are on baby 3 or, even just like a family member I know, she never worked. And now that her kids are older, she really feels like she has to work, and they're still like in elementary and that. And I am so blessed that like I don't know, like you'll have to tell me how you feel, but I'm glad I put it all in, because I really feel like I left it out on the table. Like all out there on the court in a way.
Mm-hmm.
And now I can like focus and be more relaxed on my other part of life. And I obviously love working, and it'll always be a part of my life, but I don't know. It's just like a switch of mind, like I said.
No, I say it all the time. If I would have got pregnant 10 years ago, it would have been a different pregnancy than I'm experiencing now. And just afterlife, like my husband, didn't grow up, my parents are entrepreneurs. So I'm a third generation actually entrepreneur. So, I was fortunate to have, brought up in a very well-maintained house and have things that we needed, and grew up nice, if you will. My husband did not. And so he says that all the time. He cracks up that he's like, we got a car, right? We needed an SUV because we're, having our first kid. And so we, got a Benz, a Mercedes. And so, my husband was laughing as we're pulling out, from the dealership. Like, I can't fucking believe this. Like, my kid his first car is going to be in the inside of a Mercedes. He's like, I never got one until, now, or as an adult. So it definitely, I'm not ashamed of my journey, as I hope you're not as well. Like I gave everything I needed to, especially to this industry, for the last 15 years. And so, it's my turn to sit back and let the fruit of my labors, if you will, like handle things so that I can enjoy, my first baby and pregnancy. And so, and again, I'm super lucky. My team's been amazing and everyone's been supportive, and, to be able to do that. But it's definitely, I don't regret it. It's harder, and yes, but I do think I'm going to be a better parent. I'll have the ability, even my husband, I mean, we're just in different stages. I know with you and Ty, the same, like, it would have been a different life if we got pregnant 10 years ago, for sure.
Oh, totally. My husband's graduating dental school, and we just kind of timed it around that, and he can work too. And so, I couldn't have wished for better support, and, same with the business and everything. So it's so nice. But I do have a question. When did you switch your lash chair, or have you even switched your lash chair? Because mine started hurting me.
So, I started switching it actually not that long ago, probably 2 weeks ago. And I'm still going back and forth to my old chair and, the new chair, if you will. So,
okay.
I have my regular office chair, and we put like a butt cushion, if you will, for me to kind of angle myself and position myself a little bit better. And that wasn't bothering me. And I don't know if, again, because I was bigger before, where, like I had to adjust. I constantly move my clients. Like, that is one thing. I hate to say make them uncomfortable, but they're laying there for an hour, right? Hour and a half max. Like, so come up to me. I need you guys to, I mean, they may feel like they're falling off for all I know, but if you want me to do your lashes, you're going to have to make sure I'm comfortable here. Like, So I started doing that. And then we got one of those yoga ball chairs.
Yep.
And so that worked for me because I can kind of sit behind the chair more of like a sumo wrestler, if you will. And so my belly can kind of sit down, in the middle a little bit, and I can lean forward, and it's not as brutal. So, but I'm not going to lie to you. I'm barely getting used to that. I really still switch back because I'm like, no, like, so it's weird. More of it's more probably a mental thing than anything, but I've been pretty good. I give myself, time between to, get up and walk between clients. I think that's a huge thing that people aren't doing or need to do. So I definitely take the time to do that as well between clients.
Oh, I totally agree. And I'm waiting for, I don't know if it's happened to you, but I heard this feet swelling because when we sit, there's no circulation to our feet. So you have to get up and move. And I do miss my OG chair. This one's, super fluffy and moves a lot. But I do notice I'm like, yep, you got to scoot closer because my belly, if it hits the table, it's so annoying. Like, it sits there and bumps. So I had to ask you that because I didn't adjust well, but I was like, I gotta switch. Like,
what I did, I don't know if it'll help, but on our beds, we have a foam, mattress like on top of it, like a cover, if you will. And so I actually have that leaning off the chair. Ooh. So when I push against the chair, I'm not hitting the hard top of it. I'm actually hitting the foam. So I don't know if that'll help you a little bit like that. Somebody told me, actually one of my girls that was pregnant had said that. She's like, well, we have the foam, memory foam on top. She's like, I actually pulled it. And so it would lean off a little bit. And so when I pushed against, I'm not hitting the hard table. And I said, oh, you know what? That's smart. Like,
yeah, right.
So I adjusted that. And, I haven't had issues. I'm going to be honest with you though, the first 12 weeks, and I can't chalk it up to that, but I did feel I couldn't sit for more than an hour and a half. I was done. And I just think I kept pushing against the table, and I think it was making me nauseous. And so I was like, you know what, like I really need to. And so that's when we started spacing my clients out a little bit, giving myself, 30 minutes between clients just to stand up, make sure that, or put my legs up if I needed to. I haven't, with all the problems I've been having, I can't believe it. I don't have any swelling yet. My rings still fit. My shoes are still okay. I've talked so much crap about Crocs. And the girls can't wait for my feet to be so swollen that they have to buy me those. So I'm praying it stays this way where I don't have to.
Oh,
right. Don't have to wear them, but
Yeah, it is if, but we got flip-flops coming. So I guess we'll be a little bit lucky.
And you'll catch me in flip-flops and muumuus all summer long.
Right. If it gets too hot, you might catch me in a bikini and you'll have to pay extra to see me. Might be a little too hot.
I love it.
Are you still, you're like me where you have just an amazing clientele, but I get asked this. And so maybe we can just answer this question of like full sets. Like, would you do one if you had the time? Like, cause it's so much sitting. So like, yeah.
No, so how we do it at the shop, we do 60-minute refills, 90-minute refills, and 2-hour full sets. And I'm only taking 60-minute refills now. That actually started. It's starting June 1st, it's already. Once the girls knew that this is going to be an issue, they started handling my schedule about mid-May and started only booking hour appointments or 60-minute appointments. Anything more than even 90s. It's kind of crazy. It's not so much me, it's him. I swear to God. So the baby's name is going to be Ace because he was our only embryo and we're gamblers. And so Ace is his name. So I laughed at Ace.
It's not after your baseball team.
A lot. I get some people. Yeah. People were, his middle name is Bryant. So after Kobe, we're Laker fans too. So yeah, we threw it in there. But he knows when an hour hits. It's unbelievable. He's starting to kick the crap out of me. He's moving. And so it makes me uncomfortable because I'm trying to like, all right, bud, like relax here. And I'm trying to finish. And so I stopped taking new clients honestly right when I found out that I was pregnant for a couple of reasons. I knew eventually that's so hard. If I took a full set right now, I'd be like, yeah, it was nice meeting you. I'm glad you love your lashes, but unfortunately you can't see Savannah in 2 weeks.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I want to do that to people, and let alone my team. They're already going to be, handling my clientele. And so I didn't want to add more to the pile. So, but no, I've already started cutting down for sure.
Yeah. I feel the same way. We did a full photo shoot and I did the first hour and then someone on my staff did the other hour of the full set. Yep. I was like, I just can't. And so just making those accommodations have been really nice because, I can't do it anymore. I wish, but you gotta listen to your body.
And that's the thing. I think, and that's where for me, the mind fuck comes, and I'm sure for you, because I'm overachiever. I'll do it. I'll figure it out. Don't worry about it. Give me a second. And so, the girls yell at me more than anything, like, go home. We got it. Like, it's okay. So I need to start listening.
Well, now that I've cut back on that, I've noticed I get off at a better time than I used to. Is that, are you getting off a little earlier? Like,
yes, and I hate it.
It's weird. It is so annoying. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I don't have TV shows. Like I don't watch TV. They're like,
Exactly.
my husband's like, watch a movie, put your feet up, just relax. And I'm like, okay, like,
Yeah,
so.
I literally told, because I've been seeing, maternal medicine, and I keep joking with the girls, like, oh, they're going to put me on bed rest here soon. They're going to put me on bed rest soon. Like I'm waiting every time I go in, and they keep telling me like, you need to chill. And so I think once I hit third trimester, which is next week, I feel it's coming. And so I had told the girls like, well, I'm not going to listen. And they're like, what? I was like, well, yeah. I don't mean I'm not going to listen. I said, what's going to happen is that if you tell me to stay home, I'm going to replace one task with another. That's just how my entrepreneur brain works. It is what it is, right? Like in fact, Christine, who's a mutual friend of both of ours, obviously, like we talked about doing, these mentorships and these business workshops and programs and get them online, all this fun stuff. And I literally was like, well, when I'm on maternity leave, why don't we do that? And it's like, the hell I should be. So I keep telling people like, I'm going to replace one thing with another. And I don't want to do that. You have better luck of having me sit my ass behind a chair for an hour and not moving than you do sending me home and trying to put my feet up. It's not going to work. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to do all these tasks for baby shower, get things. I'm not going to sit home and be, a couch potato. I don't know how. My brain doesn't work that way. I wish it did, but it doesn't. So, I was joking that like, I'll cut my day short. I'll only take maybe, 2 or 3 people. I'll space it out, but you have better luck of having me go into the shop from like noon to 5 than to, have me stay home all day. So the girls are like, oh my God.
They're like, see Savannah pregnant. It's on a different level.
I'm telling you, I'm sure you're the same way. Like, I'm not doing it to prove anything to anybody. I'm not doing it because I'm scared of anything or like, don't trust the girls, or it really has nothing to do with that. Anybody that's listening who's an entrepreneur, our brain thinks like that. If you are a true entrepreneur, that's how you think. I never have sat here and patted myself on the back because I've done so well in the industry. I've done this. I don't, because I don't feel like I'm done. And so it's really, if that's how you think, like it's hard to stop. It's hard to slow down. And so I'm trying my best. I'm still learning. He's definitely, that's the one thing I give this kid already, is he's teaching me some lessons. So we'll see, but no, I'm slowing down, but being off before 6:00 and it's still light outside is definitely different for me.
I feel the same way. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can eat dinner. Like,
together with my husband, and exactly.
Mm-hmm. How long are you going to take? I get this, and I don't even. To be honest, I don't even know. So don't feel like you have to answer. How long are you taking maternity leave for?
So I am due mid-August. Obviously, no matter what, will have him at the end of July. So when my clients ask, because bet your ass they already ask, because they're concerned.
Congratulations, you're pregnant. When are you due, and how long are you taking maternity leave?
Exactly. And I say this for all lash artists, and I tell my girls the same. I love my clients. Where I'm at is because of my clients. But at the end of the day, always remember. And this, I tell my girls this regarding their work as well. Like, always ask the questions. Make sure you're always talking to your clients. How are your lashes? Do you like to change anything? Like, don't just assume because they've been coming to you for so long that they're happy, right? Like, we need to still have consultations. Make sure that you're listening to them, because I do not care how close you are to them. They're there for service, and they're paying an amount of money to be there. So, I know that, and I realize that in being pregnant, like, I mean, I'm telling you, no joke. And, clients are great and we all can laugh but I was sick during these first 12 weeks, first trimester, and I'm literally getting up to puke. You think any of these clients were like, oh yeah, you should go home. It's okay. Finish me later or I'll come back.
Nope.
No, not one of them. They wanted the service to still be done. So I always tell the girls, like, it's really an aha moment for all of us. Just like I've always been saying, like, at the end of the day, I don't care how much you think they love you or you love them. There's still a service that has to be provided. This is why money is exchanged. So it's the same thing for this, right? Like, I'm very honest with my clients. Like, it is what it is. I think I'm going to take 8 weeks, I believe, or a little bit more depending on when he comes, but I don't see myself coming back until before Halloween. I will not leave my girls for the holidays. I think that's our busiest time, and they're going to be juggling their clients plus ours and new. Like I don't want to do that. So I'll be out until October, mid-October probably. I might come in early October to take a couple people to get, my skills back up and see how I feel behind a chair. But I will take 2 months. I'll take 2 months off for sure.
No, I agree. And how I kind of word that with my clients is like, I'll be there for you for the holidays. Like I kind of like give them hope, like, okay, like, I don't know when I'm going to be back, but like, I'll reach out to you. And if you think about it, I'll for sure be there for the holidays for you. So like, don't think about a number or how many weeks, just know that Christmas, you'll probably have my lashes. So you can calm down.
And it's funny because then I'll even have some clients, well, you say that, but this is going to be his first Christmas. You don't think you want to, well, I'm not going to tell you that I'll be working 9 to 9 like I always was, but I will definitely be here, and actually I'm thinking, I don't know if you are, and again, maybe this is good for some lash artists that are listening. Like I'm coming back with my prices higher. Yeah. And it's because
and less hours.
Or
less days. I think I'm going to do long days. Or less days and
longer hours. It's going to be interesting once we play. I'm super lucky and fortunate. I have a great support system. My parents are on their, they both just turned 60. This is the first grandchild on both sides. So I joke and say, I joke that I'm birthing the king over here. So he's going to be well attentive. The pandemic, the one blessing thing for Brian is that he's working from home. So he, that gives us more flexibility. And so we're in a good position, and I'm super excited about it because I'll feel bad about going back to work. I think this kid is going to be well taken care of. So, but, I definitely think like I want to experience those things though as well and not miss a lot of stuff. So I definitely think my game plan, what's going to be is I definitely will come back before the holidays. So probably, like I said, before Halloween. And then, but it'll definitely be some changes. My prices will go up a little bit. I'll have to structure myself, and it depends how feedings are going and how he responds. I mean, he's going to have a lot to say of how this is going to work out. So.
Right. Like, I guess we can't really just like this whole pregnancy, it's kind of what they're doing. Right.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I don't know about you, like when I rebook people, they're like wanting to book out. Like they want to go till my due date. And I always tell them like, actually, I'm only doing 4 weeks ahead. And because I don't want to disappoint you and put pressure on myself to like have to come in, because I feel like they also get pushy with that.
Oh, absolutely. And I say that all the time, who they're really rude to. And I need to make sure that I'm up there when they're doing this is to my front desk, because they'll push them. Well, just put me in there just in case. I mean, if you have to move me last minute, it's like, you say that now until I have to move you. And then it's an issue, right? Like so I'm doing the same. I'm only going 4 weeks out at a time. I just opened my June schedule. I will not open my July until 2 weeks previous, depending on how I'm feeling and what's going on. So I don't, I'm kind of going by what the doctor's saying and playing my cards at that. But also too, I stay up there when my front desk books them and let them know, like, it's subject to change. Like, just in case, like I said, I started iron infusions 2 weeks ago. Like that it's a weekly thing. I wasn't anticipating that. That wasn't, so, I'm there early in the morning, but I need a couple hours to do it. And by the time I get to the shop and things of that sort. So, those first couple of clients may had to have moved. And so, I'm really open with them. I try to be as stern as possible, to let them know. And most understand. You might get a couple people like, but for the most part, people are pretty good.
Yeah. I think I've only had one that was like, well, I have a vacation. And I was like, well, then you can book with so-and-so. And then if you get really lucky and win the lottery and I'm still here, then you get an appointment with me. How about that? And she was like, whoa. I'm like, hey, pregnancy hormones, it's just going to come out. Like if you want to book, go book with someone else. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. No, I feel the same.
Yeah. Have you like had any situations where you like later on you're like, oh my gosh, those were some pregnancy hormones? Like that was not me.
So I haven't had them in the second trimester.
Okay.
And I think the reason why is because they were so bad at the first trimester.
You're doing all those shots.
Yeah, they definitely my team at work were kind of like, oh shit, she's on one right now. And it was so crazy because I identified that I was. It's just you can't stop it. It's really just it's hormones are, man, they are something. And so I really haven't. I for the most part, I like to think I'm a pretty easy going with the flow person. I'm sure everyone always says that about themselves, right? But I always tell everyone I think like a dude. Like it's one ear out the other. I'm not really a big gossiper. I'm not really it's just because it's not that I don't care. It's not relevant to me a lot of the times. And so I do think people kind of get like, what the hell? First trimester was a little brutal. And it was odd for me because again, there were certain times I would get emotional and I'm not an emotional person. So it's definitely, people are friends, really close friends of mine are super excited to see the change coming because they're like, he's going to make you extremely soft. He's going to make you, become a different person. So I'm interested to see how that's going to play out for me, as we get to this third trimester, but so far so good. But I also think I'm on so many supplements. They probably have that shit regulated for me. So
it's true. It's very true. I think the one thing I still think about to this day, but you've already mentioned it, is just the microwave situation. I just remember someone heated up some Indian food and I was like, really? You have to eat that in here today? And I said that and then I went home and I felt bad, but it was just Indian food while you're pregnant. And don't get me wrong, I've craved it a few times and then I down it and then it still stinks the next day, but just in the moment I was not ready for Indian food in the salon and I was just dying and I said, I feel bad.
For sure. No, not yet, but nothing has been too crazy yet. The first trimester again was a little bit certain things, but not even that bad. But yeah. Knock on wood. I still have one more trimester.
Right. We're still not done, Savannah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I want to count my chickens before they're hatched here.
Right. But is there anything else that you're kind of changing while you've been pregnant that you didn't before or anything like that? I mean, I know we've referenced this, but just the energy and the time that I used to put into the business, that's probably my biggest thing. Is there anything that's changed for you or, just to make people feel at peace that they're not alone?
Right. No, definitely. I mean, I think personally for us, I mean, I'm in California, so we experienced the pandemic a lot differently than most states. We were closed for, close to a year. So I think that's projected me to slow down just in general. I think a lot of people, and I think this is all over the country, people, aren't working as much or they're realizing that we were running this rat race. And so I definitely have really conserved my energy on what needs to be there and what doesn't, and what should bother me and what should. I still have goals. I'm not lying to you in any part of that way, but definitely I've always been an overachiever. That's always just been how my mindset is. And I'm beyond proud of myself that I have chilled and been content, especially being pregnant. But I think the pandemic helped a little bit with that because I didn't have a choice, we were closed for so long. And, especially for us, a lot of schools for us just opened, without a mask, without kids. So that was maybe the beginning of this year. So we experienced it for, a good year and a half. So at least in California. So, and then I'm sure, and I don't know if I end up opening a second location or another location in Scottsdale, in Arizona. And so I was traveling back and forth for that. And it's a smaller staff there. This place isn't as big. And it really did let me take a aha moment and to be like, you know what? Life doesn't have to be the rat race. It's okay, Savannah. You're still okay. This is good. You're enjoying life. I was spending time more with Brian, and it was just a good time to realize, like, you know what, I'm obviously significantly older than you, but I'm going to hit my 40s, and I want to make sure that I am experiencing life and not just working in it, you know? So, I think it's okay. I still have goals and dreams, and I'm not going to tell you that that's going to ever sit back, but, on the back burner, but I definitely have to sit and maybe I tell this to my girls, like, you really need to sit down and prioritize what is necessary and what is not, you know? And so I need to take my own advice in that. And I did. And I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm sure it's probably the same for you. I have, had to close 2 of the shops during the pandemic, and I make more profit now with less stress. Mm-hmm. And it's unfucking believable to think that's what it was. And I'm like, like, ain't that some shit? Like, it was just, it's refreshing, you know? And so a lot of times too, people need to sit back and realize it's okay. You can't be doing everything at every moment and not enjoying life. And we are, me and my husband, they said we lived a good life. And, you know, we travel, we do a lot of fun things. And so, and we want to do the same when Ace gets here. So, just learning to chill. Yeah. It's happened. Yeah.
No, I would agree. And like throughout this whole thing, like I remember being younger and being like, oh, I want all these kids. And then like I went and became an entrepreneur, and now I still want that. And I still want a family. So for me, I'm like, I really want to enjoy our baby, because I think I only want to, because I still have goals and dreams like you. So like, I want to enjoy these moments, because I don't want to regret, oh, I still was trying to do all these things, and then I couldn't focus on, you know, her. And then, you know, I only had 2, you know, like kind of what you said, like the balance of it all, because it's going to go by so fast.
Absolutely. And that's what everyone, I mean, you know, has people, you know, as I mentor other people for businesses, like they trust what you're saying. And so I am taking the advice of other mothers, like, Savannah, it goes by so quick. Like, and even right now, as you're throwing up or you're not feeling good, or enjoy these moments, because sometimes it's your only moment that you have to experience that. I'm like, touche, like, okay, like that. You're right. It's like, that's what I'm doing. Yeah. I'm super excited about it. It's a new chapter. It's a new chapter.
Look at us. We're recording all of our journey. So Savannah, thank you so much for joining. I'm just going to give your Instagram a shout out. It's Savannah _myaddiction, and all of her amazing girls that she's talking about. If you want to follow them, it's at @myaddictionskin. So go ahead and follow
Thank you so
them.
much. I appreciate you having me. It's been great.
I'm glad we got pregnant at the same time. Thanks for timing up.
I know.
We'll talk soon.
Bam. Good to see you. Bye.